We found it! Can you believe it? It's all dried up. And the joke is, once we get to the top of this, we've got to get to the top of that. So we made it up, back up. That was the wrong track. Look, he's got a woodlouse. That is crazy. Bit of lunch. Such a hard ground that actually the roots just spread out and are very, very shallow. I did not plan to run down here. It's thought to be the Gurt Worm of Sherwood Wood. Today I'm going to take you on an adventure across one of Somerset's most fascinating landscapes. The Quantocks is not just an area of beauty, it's also full of folklore and history as well. So join me and let's see what we can discover. So we are starting our journey at Dead Woman's Ditch, a place that's got quite an eerie, if not fearsome reputation. It's thought to be very haunted. It's actually thought to be an ancient earthwork. So I'm stood on the bank right here. And you can see there's quite a large ditch as well. So you've got the ditch in the bank. There's lots of speculation as to what this is. Perhaps it linked up to the old Dors Castle where we're going to head next. But yeah, like I said, it's thought to be a very haunted location. I think if you Google Dead Woman's Ditch, you'll find a number of newspaper articles talking about people enjoying a picnic or just visiting the area to be told to F off by the ghost that resides here. So it's thought to be a very haunted area. Would you come here and explore at night? Well, you're very brave if you do. It's got a fearsome reputation. Anyway, let's head up to the next location. We're going to head up to Dors Castle. Like I said, this is an ancient space. It's thought that the earthworks that you see there could have actually linked with the old hill fort. There's an Iron Age hill fort that was probably used even further in history, but let's go, let's see what we can find on the way. When you wander down through here, basically anywhere on the Quantocks, you've got so many trees, a lot of them warped and twisted in peculiar ways. And it's no surprise really, it's got such a reputation for being haunted. When you wander down through here at night, it just has such an eerie feel to it. It really does feel like, well, if you come here on your own, it feels like you're being followed, if not chased. I've been here a few times on my own, and put it this way, it's very different on your own than when you're with a few other people. Would I say it's scary? I don't know. I suppose for the what's the word I'm looking for? For the unexperienced ghost hunter, it probably would be terrifying. But actually, if you're like myself and you like a good scare, this is kind of the place to do it. I just found it really cool, what I'm assuming is a colony of ants, and actually they're everywhere. I wonder what was biting my ankle. I was walking along and all of a sudden there was absolutely loads, and I mean loads of ants crossing the path here. You can actually see them carrying things, which is really cool. Oh no, they're all over my shoes now. Probably shouldn't have stopped here for too long. But you know, I find it fascinating when you watch, I don't know, everyone's seen a video of the cutter ants. Oh look, there's some wild blueberries as well. That's pretty cool. Let's step over the ants, but yeah, I'm sure most of you watching, if not everybody is watching, has seen a video of those cutter ants, cutter ants, where they cut up leaves and stuff and carry them back to the nest. So it's pretty cool to see that on a wander in the Quantocks. A colony of ants. Yes, it's not quite the rainforest, but it still adds to your exploration. So we're now probably about halfway between Dead Woman's Ditch and Dors Castle, the old hill fort. We're going to head down this way though first. So obviously to get to the hill fort we need to go uphill, but we're going down first. And we're going to go down here to find the old spring. Beautiful ancient spring that the people that inhabited the old hill fort would have drank from. They would have travelled down here every day from their residence up on the hill there to get water. So let's have a look at this on our way up. When you walk through the Quantocks, you've got all these trees swaying in the wind, making the strangest of noises. you can really understand why it's got the reputation that it has. One, it looks pretty eerie anyway, especially at night. I mean, but even in the day, you know, you can't really see beyond the trees, especially throughout history, with the belief of all sorts of strange mythological creatures in the woods. You can imagine this being quite a terrifying area. Added to that with those strange noises coming from the multitude of trees we've got all around us. Actually, you can understand probably why it's got such a reputation in the Quantocks, but I don't know. Now we know that those noises come from the trees, and actually you take away that scariness and that eerie feeling, you can really appreciate the beauty of the landscape. Unless you're a scaredy cat. Check that out. Tree. It's been completely uprooted. But what's interesting on the Quantocks is when you see all these trees, you'd assume their roots go deep. But actually, look closely, and all you see underneath these roots is stones. So you see how shallow those roots are, which is pretty crazy. Anyway, heading down to the old spring now, the Lady Well. I was thinking to myself, I'm sure it doesn't usually take this long to get down to the old spring, and I'm pretty sure I've passed it. So actually you can see here there's like a water course which is dried up at the moment, because obviously it's very dry at the moment. But yeah, so I missed the well, and now I have to go back up, and then I'm gonna have to go back down to then go back up. So always pay attention to where you're going is the moral of this story. Oh god, this hill is so steep. I pride myself on being somebody who knows where they're going and knows their way around the Quantocks, but I appear to have got lost entirely. But I think we're nearly at the spring, because I can see some water. So thank goodness, I think we've made it. So I was close, not completely lost, although for a moment I did think I'm lost, which is hard for me to admit when we come to places like the Quantocks, but it just goes to show, doesn't matter how much you know these areas, how many times you walk it. Oh, blimey, nearly went on my ass. There's always something you haven't discovered yet. So clearly I never went down that pathway before, but we found it. Can you believe it? It's all dried up. All you can see from the spring is this little bit of water that's trickling down there, which is a shame, but let's have a look anyway. But we found it. Can you believe it? It's all dried up. All you can see from the spring is this little bit of water that's trickling down there, which is a shame, but let's have a look anyway. So there we go. I was hoping to get a nice lovely shot of the water trickling out of there, but it's all dried up. But look at that, the spring that seemingly appears from out of the tree. Obviously the tree isn't 2,000 years old, but we know that people would have come and got water from this spring 2,000 years ago when the hill fort up in that direction was still in use. One thing I always think of when I look at old springs like this is just how far we've come as humans. You know, 2,000 years ago, this was the water source. This was as close as you could get to the kitchen tap that we've got today. People would have had to travel a long time to come and get water. And if it was hot like it is today, or like it's been recently, it might dry up entirely. So you can imagine what it would have been like for those people all that time ago, living from the landscape. It probably got its name, Lady Well, something to do with, you know, the earth, the lady of the earth, or, you know, Mother Nature, all that sort of thing. And that's being put into the spring there, the Lady Well. But what would the ancient people have thought when it dried up? They probably thought it was the gods punishing them, or something like that. Perhaps they understood science better than we give them credit for, but it would have been a difficult time, as you can imagine. There was not taps, you couldn't nip to the shop and get a bottle of water. That was your source of water. What the heck would you do when it had dried up? Anyway, like I said, now we've got to go down to get back up. I'm tempted to just go straight up there, but I can imagine being absolutely covered in ticks, which I don't really want to do. Damn, just got home and we have a tick. Bloody horrible little thing. So let's go down and then we'll go back up. Isn't that funny though, that there's no water in the spring, but it's trickling down here. It's coming from the earth. It's coming from somewhere. I wonder if it's drinkable. It's one of those things when I think about it and then I get, it's like intrusive thoughts you can't win. I think I have to try it. It's a bit murky, but let's go. Ugh, that was dirty. Oh. The thought was there until I put my hand in and messed up the sediment and thought, no thank you. So next time when the spring's running a bit better, I'll give it a try, but not today. I don't fancy that. Right, anyway, Dors Castle next. Let's see what we can find on the way. Hopefully we won't get lost again on the way up. But I suppose that's part of the fun, isn't it? Coming here, wandering aimlessly, getting lost along the way, discovering new things. We are now making our way back up the wrong route that we took. And the joke is, once we get to the top of this, we've got to get to the top of that, which is like a mountain, but it's all good. We got this. Let's go. My legs are so tired. Oh my God. We're not even halfway up the show yet. Oh my God. So we made it up, back up. That was the wrong track we took. Now, we just got to get up to the top of the hill fort. Whew. At least it's warmed me up, because I tell you what, it's windy up here. A bit windier today anyway. But when you're up on the Quantocks, it's really windy. I was a little bit chilly at one point. Definitely not anymore. Anyway, we're on the track to the old hill fort. Just another mountain to climb, and we'll be there. God, this is more tiring than the last hill. But anyway, I just thought I would share with you, because earlier I said I thought I found some blueberries. On reflection, it was probably slow berries. There's loads of them here. Loads of them. These are all berries. Obviously, you get slowberry gin. If you've ever tried to eat a slowberry, you'll know they're not very nice. But of course, gin drinkers probably enjoy them. And a bit of gin. Oh, where are we going? I don't know. Trying to go up, but I appear to be going sideways. Anyway, I think we're almost there. Okay, I think I found something pretty crazy. I was looking at this mound. It just looks like a random mound of like sawdust, right? And then I noticed there's another one further up there. When you look closely, you see a lot of movement. And there is literally thousands, if not millions, of ants. So this is obviously an ant nest. Oh look, they're actually carrying sticks around. That is so cool. I hope you can, yeah look, you got one there, carrying that little stick. That's so cool. So they've obviously brought all of this stuff, every piece of wood, stick, leaf that you can see here has been carried. Look at him carrying that big piece there. This is crazy. So they've obviously carried every little piece of this mound has been carried here by these ants. Look, there's a huge bit there. That one there. Look at that. He's like showing off. He's like, I got this, I got this. He's hardly moving, he's more just falling all over the place. Oh no, I've got hundreds of ants on my shoes now. I think these ones bite as well, to be fair. But how cool is that? Look at him, he's got a big piece. I was saying at the beginning how much I like to watch those leaf cutter ants. Well, it's literally just like those leaf cutter ants. That's like, I know it might sound completely random, but it's one of my favourite things. I think it was Longley I went to when I last seen some. Oh no, let's get them off my shoes. And they have like all the ants and a little tube going across, and you see them carrying all the stuff. Sort of, nearly went over, to make their nests. And that's literally what we've got here on the Quantocks. Wow, there's an even bigger one here. Look at that. Look at him. Something in my ear. He's got a big old piece there. That is so cool. I said hundreds, maybe thousands. Look, he's got a woodlouse. That is crazy. Bit of lunch. Yeah, I said earlier there was thousands. There's definitely millions of ants there. To create those piles of earth that you can see, That's cool, so cool. That has made the trip worth it. Just those ants. Oh no! I literally thought we was at the top, and then it multiplies. More hill. I suppose the clue is in the name, hill fort. Generally speaking, they're going to be quite high up. Oh well, let's soldier on. We've got to go this way, and of course there's no trackway to go up there, so we've got to clamber through the overgrowth. Because me being me, I never take the accepted pathways. I always just soldier on, find my own way. Part of the fun, I think. That said, I have seen a trek going up there, so let's jump on that, and I'll come back to you when we're up at the old hill fort. And finally, we have made it to the old Iron Age hill fort, Dors Castle. Many refer to it as Danesborough. It's thought that historically it was called Danesborough because of the slaughter of many Danes in the area, but there's much speculation around it. But look at that. There's a big old ditch just there, and then a quite high bank here. It's difficult to make out on camera, but yeah, I'm just going to walk around the circumference of this old hill fort. Now, every time I come to a place like this, an ancient landscape, now I am inside of the old hill fort. You can just about see the bank here. On the other side is a large ditch. And I can't help but be fascinated by the fact that 2,000 years ago and beyond, people literally called this place home. You know, this whole area would have been home to many families. Ah, spider webs again! Oh no, stingers! Whew, calm. Okay, let me just make sure the spider web's out of the way. Anyway, completely forgot what I was saying, but isn't it fascinating to think that people would have called this very place home? They would have wandered down to the Lady Spring. Another bloody spider web to the arms. Oh mate, sticks attaching to me. Yeah, people would have lived there, wandered down to the Lady Well, the old spring, got their water, made their way back up here. I just find it fascinating. Also, when you're walking through up here, again, you can't help but think of the myths and creatures that are thought to have roamed this area. One being the Gurt Worm of Shervidge Wood. Shervidge Wood is a part of the Quantocks, just sort of in that direction. And yeah, there's the Gurt Worm, which historically, right up till even after the medieval period, people still believed in the Gurt Worm, which was a type of mythological creature with two heads. And it's thought that the Gurt Worm was the cause or the reason of the disappearance of many of the animals in the area. Nobody knows the true origins of the Gurt Worm. Perhaps it even started with the people who once called this place home 2,000 years ago, or maybe it started a bit later. But it's just fascinating to know that mythological creatures like that are entwined into the landscape of this. And when you walk the area, to be honest with you, it's not really surprising why. But yeah, there's many stories about the Gurt Worm of Shervidge Wood. In fact, in the local church, there's a pew end with a strange looking beast, which is thought to depict the Gurt Worm, which I'll probably pop into the church and show you on my way home, actually. And when you get to the other side of Dorsborough Hill Fort, it all opens up and you've got this area here. Oh yeah, and you remember it's quite windy today once you're here. This is a spot where I always stop when I'm out doing this walk or wandering the Quantocks. It's a beautiful area. You've got views all the way over to Wales. It's a nice place to just take in a bit of sun. But also when I'm here, I can't help but look at the landscape and think about William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who took inspiration from walking these areas, you know, seeing the beauty in the landscape, which actually inspired much of their writings, which I think is fascinating, because if you think about that on a deeper level, that shows that those early poets in the 1700s would have travelled these areas. So not only was it their writings that contributed towards the literary movement and the, I don't know, the romances, the poems and all of that sort of era, which contributed so much to English literature as we know it today. Actually, it wasn't just because of their writings, it was also because of this very landscape, the Quantock Hills. So the Quantock Hills in itself, I like to think, actually contributed towards English language, which is quite a nice thought, isn't it? You may completely disagree, which is fine, but yeah, I like to, I don't know, think of things on a deep level like that. There we've got another tree that's been uprooted. It's just fascinating to see how shallow the roots really are, and wow, you can really see it on this one. So look at those roots. They didn't penetrate the ground at all because it's just pure rock, although it's small rocks. It's such a hard ground that actually the roots just spread out and are very, very shallow. But that's pretty cool. So you got to see the full root structure of the tree. Pretty awesome. Surrounded by sloe berries as well. Anyway, we are sort of heading back down now. I was going to include Wolford's Gibbet, but to be honest with you, I'm a little bit tired and I'm knackered from walking so much, so we might skip that one and leave it for another day. But Wolford's Gibbet, I mean, it's not too far away. It's a lovely walk. It's said to be a haunted tree there, so it's quite an interesting area. I'll see if there's anything interesting to share with you on the way back down. We're going to take a different route back down. The route I should have took back up, but I was in explorer mode, so let's see if we can find anything else interesting. So we're nearly out of the hill fort. Now here you can't see too much of a bank. You wouldn't think that much of it until you get to the edge and look down and you think, wow, that is awesome. That's actually crazy when you think about it. Obviously it's old defences, but to think that they probably would have been those banks would have been twice as high. The ditches could have even been twice as deep historically when they was dug for defence. So I don't know, it's just mind-blowing to think not just the scale of them, but the time and effort it would have took to create that. Yeah, pretty cool. Bloody spider webs. What the fuck was that? Absolutely covered in these flies. I'm absolutely covered. I thought I walked through a spider web and I noticed millions of flies all over me, and I could feel them in my ear and my eyes and my nose. That's horrible. I did not plan to run down here. And now I can't turn the camera off, so you're joining me for the ride. Oh shit. That was so weird and horrible. Still got these flies all over me. Don't know where the hell they came from. Look, when you look at my top, see all of these flies crawling all over it. Now I have never been so covered in so many flies in such a short space of time. My t-shirt's absolutely covered in them. Now there's a spider on my t-shirt, and I can feel them on my back, but the worst part is I can feel them all in my hair, which is just horrible and icky. So let's try and... Oh wow! Look, the spider's just caught one of those flies. That is so funny. Literally just watching that spider, and he decided to go and munch one of those little mini flies. Fair play, mate. The spider's come to save my life. But I need more of you, mate. Look at all them flies. We need more spiders. But yeah, I don't really want spiders all over me. Oh, my hair! It's so horrible. Anyway, let's just get the hell out of here and hope that does not happen again. Well, that was horrible. I've just about got all the bugs. In fact, I haven't. Look, they're still on me. It took me ages. I spent ages, good 5 minutes, getting all them flies off me. That was horrific. And I know I keep going on about it, but God, I've walked this place so many times. Yes, I've walked through like a cloud of bugs or a few bugs here and there, but never have I, within a second, been absolutely covered in creepy crawlies. It was so horrible. I could feel them going in my ears, in my eyes, in my hair, all over the place. It was just absolutely nasty. To be fair, it made me realise I don't think I would be any good on I'm a Jungle, on I'm a Celebrity, because I could never cope with those things. Anyway, I suppose it added a bit of fun to the adventure. As I always say to people that come, basically any walk I go on, it's never just a walk, it's always an adventure. It all adds to the fun, doesn't it? To be fair though, I could have done without the multitude of flies. That was horrible. It was like at the second I walked under that tree, they just dropped on me. Ugh. nasty. So there we go, just heading back to the car park now. Nothing overly interesting to show you on the way back, so I thought we'd finish it up there. Oh no, we won't. I just remembered, actually, I said I'd pop into the church, didn't I? Down the road at Crocombe, to show you what is believed to be the Gurt Worm of Shervidge Wood. So let's check that out before we finish up. So earlier on I mentioned the Gurt Worm of Shervidge Wood. When you go into the church here, so this is a church of the Holy Ghost at Crocombe, just down the hill from the Quantocks, you'll actually find a pew end which is thought to depict the Gurt Worm itself. So these are Tudor pew ends, about 500 years old almost, and isn't it fascinating to know that one of them preserves the memory of the Gurt Worm. Apparently thought to be the Gurt Worm. Not definite, but it's still really cool to see. I mean, there's loads of amazing pew ends here, well worth a visit. But this particular one is the one we've come to see. It's thought to be the Gurt Worm of Shervidge Wood. Isn't that fascinating? What I find fascinating about this and the Gurt Worm and mysterious creatures like that is that obviously today we know that this is a mythological creature. It never existed, as far as we are aware. But people had a lack of understanding of the landscape that we've got today. So of course today we know that stories like the Gurt Worm of Shervidge Wood was a mythological creature, never really existed, but it was stories like this that helped people understand the landscape. Animals went missing, terrifying events may have happened, and they didn't have the scientific understanding of the world that we have today, which led to the creation of things like the Gurt Worm. It helped them explain what was happening around them. And then over years these stories, whether it be a myth or a creature, whatever it may be, quite literally became part of the landscape itself. And isn't it fascinating to know that almost 500 years later, even with all of our understanding of science and knowledge and knowing that things like the Gurt Worm never existed, it's still preserved and remembered in pew ends like this one today. So even 500 years later, the Gurt Worm that many of the locals in medieval times thought was the reason for their sheep going missing must have been this giant dragon-looking beast taking the sheep. The memory of it is still preserved inside this church, which I think is pretty cool. So if you ever come to Crocombe, it's well worth a visit. So there we go, and that's where we will finish today's adventure at the Church of the Holy Ghost at Crocombe. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little exploration. Obviously this is a bit different to what I usually do, so please let me know if you enjoyed it and you would like to see more like this, and I will make that happen. All right, so don't forget to subscribe, give the video a like, please. It all really helps. It helps so much. So thank you all for watching, appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.